Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tal, the Traveling Clat, your favorite Zionizer, white colonizing prince from the land of Israel that was promised to be 3,000 years ago. You can get the merch in the description below at thetravelingclat.com. Today, we're going to be discussing if it was a great idea to do a ceasefire and to just leave Gaza to the Gazan people once again. As we know, the Gazan people, they have such an incredible track record of peace and love and tranquility when left to their own devices. Let's see, now that Palestine is free and the genocide has officially ended, let's see how well the Palestinians are faring by their own accord in Gaza. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, ahlan wa sahlan. Actually, in Palestinian, they say ahlan wa sahla to Gaza post-genocide. Dr. Azimi al-Dahaweed, a Palestinian terrorist who was released from Israeli prison, even if they kill me now, we will return to Israel.
حتى لو قتلت الآن لا عودة يا إسرائيل لن تكون هناك إسرائيل بإذن الله تعالى قريبا ستزول هذا وعد الله هذا وعد الله نقول أن هذه هي أول البداية وليس النهاية سنعود ولن نشتكي حتى لو قتلت.
I believe him when he says it too. I really do believe him when he says it. He says this is just the beginning, not the end. I believe him. I tend to believe terrorists when they say they intend on continuing to kill Jewish people. And they intend on bringing on the end of the state. Now, that's the difference between me and you. Not you, but you. You know what I'm saying? The difference between me and you is that when they say it, you take it as they're just some stupid brown people. You know, they don't know any better. Maybe I can educate them. I take it as, this is my enemy. He wants to kill me, and I need to do something about it. That's it. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to do. Unfortunately, we live in a Hooga Booga land. We have to play by Hooga Booga rules. The longer you decide you don't want to play Hooga Booga rules, the longer you will suffer. Once you start playing Hooga Booga, things become a little bit easier. Hamas atrocities. Let's see. This clip is from Hamas. Oh, here, the translation's up here. Do you see my son? He will come to you again like on the 7th of October. A Palestinian prisoner and his son who were just released from Israel promised that they will come back to kill more Israelis like on October 7th.
هددتني وانت وايوب تدعس على رقبة ابني عشان اسلم اخواتي.
Amazing.
وقلت لك ما فشرت حنروح خاوة يعني حنروح خاوة وهينا روحنا خاوة وبقولوا لي يا ابو فارس طلع فينا كويس لو دارت فيك الدنيا بإذن الله ما تروح من عنا المرة الجاية إلك مش للي الكابتن قدول.
Fantastic. Look at the bitch-ass father got to sit in a prison while his son endured bombing. Unless his son was also in prison, I don't know. While his son endured bombing for 2 years on his city. And then he gets to come back from his bitch-ass vacation in Israel, from his prison vacation, into a destroyed Gaza Strip and say, you know what? Let's double down. I sacrificed my son to thee. I didn't have to deal with the consequences of my actions. But you know what? Now that I'm here, fuck it. I'll sacrifice my son to thee. That's the Palestinian people in a nutshell. It's not accountability. It's not coming on and saying, hey, you know what? We may have fucked up on this one. This might have been a bad idea. I'll look for a more peaceful future for this young kid of mine. No. I sacrificed my son. Here it is. Take him. Okay, let's see. Palestinian man spent 20 years in Israeli prisons. He did for blowing up a bus and killing 7 kids. You forgot that bit. I'm sorry, but ladies and gentlemen, look how many fucking people are around sharing this moment of a person who bombed a bus and killed 7 children. I keep saying to you guys over and over again, yes, Hamas is a terrorist group, but the Palestinian people love Hamas. There's a reason why they're so popular. Sorry, I don't know. Did you notice all the women in hijabs around taking pictures of the magical reuniting moment of the bus bomber? Guys, let's get it together for a second here, okay? These people don't want peace. We've tried peace. They're not interested in peace. Let's see a little analysis here from I-24
Innocent Israeli civilians brought home. Hundreds of convicted Palestinian terrorists were released from Israeli prisons. 1,968 Palestinian prisoners left on buses headed for the West Bank and Gaza, including 250 security prisoners serving one or more life terms for deadly attacks on Israelis. One of the Palestinians released is Yad Hassan Hussein Fatafta, who brutally attacked Tal Hartoub and her friend Christine Lukin with a machete in 2010, killing Christine and stabbing Tal 18 times until Tal played dead to save her own life. We are joined now by that survivor, Tal Hartoub. And Tal, before we even get into the news of this week, I want you to take me back first to the attack 15 years ago. You were going for a nice Saturday nature outing near Jerusalem with your friend Christine. Walk me through what happened.
Okay, I'll do this part briefly because it's just, it gets harder and harder in the last few days to recount it. But yes, I was working as a tour guide and taking my friend, an American Christian, on the Shvil Israel, on the, how do you say it, National Trail. And we were pounced on from behind by two Palestinian terrorists, and they held us at machete point for half an hour. Then they tied our hands up behind our back and they gagged us, put us on our knees, said that Allahu Akbar. And they started bludgeoning us with these machetes, and I'm on my side laying on the ground, and they're, you know, he's just plunging this thing into me and I can hear my bones crunch, and the only thing I knew to do was to play dead. And I made a very difficult choice. To save my life, I kept my eyes open as if to be dead, and I watched my friend chopped up before me like a cucumber. And after, like you said, 18 stabs, it's like such an understatement, but they left, and somehow I just wanted to get up and die nearer where I parked the car so the police could find my body. And after a great struggle, I managed to stand and gagged, bound barefoot. I walk over a mile, and I had 18 machete wounds, over 30 broken bones, snapped ribs, crushed sternum, collapsed lung, dislocated shoulder, splinters in my lungs, and a sliced diaphragm. And due to me nicking one very lightly with a penknife, his blood was on my sleeve, and the police apprehended them. And when I was in the court case with them 11 months later, I remember the judge, he looked at them and he said, "But why did you murder an American Christian?" And they sniggered, and they, you know, like two little boys, and they said, "Oh, we thought she was Jewish." And they were sentenced. And one of these savages is released now.
Tal, as difficult as it is to even hear the details of this, I can only imagine how difficult it is for you to share these details, especially given the news of this week. What did you think? What went through your mind when you found out that your terrorist was being released? How did you even find out in the first place?
Well, thank you for asking me that, because I am in a lot of pain emotionally about this. I was just watching your previous article, which is very beautiful, about the hostages coming home. And one of the parents said, our broken hearts are whole again. And I thought that's so interesting, because my heart's broken again. And how I found out on Google. I mean, I know you have a very wide viewership, and I can be a very forgiving person for small things, but nobody told me. I haven't had one phone call from one government official. And I find that really outrageous and very hurtful. And it would really alleviate my pain if somebody could just give me a call. And of course, what was incurred in that when I found out by myself is, of course, I just assumed that the Americans or somebody had told my friend's parents, you know, she's an American. And Christine's identical twin sister, she texted me when she saw my social media that they were out. She had no idea. And that meant also her parents had no idea. So it's, you know, it's messy generally, the whole deal. But for someone like myself and Christine's family, it's been extra painful.
Tal, what message then do you believe that this release sends to future terrorists and also to families of terror victims like yours and like Christine's?
Look, we're all Israelis, right? So, and we have a very much more complex way of life here. And it's not linear. We live in tension, philosophical tension. So even from the Bible, when it says there's a time for joy and a time to weep, that's this time. We are weeping and in joy at the same time. So we have to manage that tension. So what message does it send? I mean, we have to understand, because the terrorists say themselves, right, that they are going to murder again. So the same people who were happy about the hostages coming home, and I'm there. I was crying. I was so happy. But we have to be really realistic about this and understand that some of us who are celebrating will be murdered by these terrorists. I don't believe we should negotiate with terrorists ever. And I found myself wondering, how on earth have we got to this situation? We fought a very, very bloody, hard war. And we get to the end, and now we're like, oh, we're going to release the terrorists. Now, I don't actually think the blame is on our Prime Minister or President Trump. Where I do lay the blame is the Western governments and the Western media, and I'll tell you why. If you remember, on October the 7th, there was so much solidarity, and they were projecting Israeli flags on civic buildings throughout Europe and Australia and Canada. And that's what we call a window of time in Israel. Basically, people love dead Jews and get very sentimental when Jews have been murdered. But that window of time was closed pretty much a few days later. And what the media did, and I mean like the far left Hamas mouthpiece BBC and the far left Sky News and the far left CNN, and we should call them by that, is that they began to interview and platform the other side, this whataboutism. And then they took their information only from Hamas when people are killed in Gaza. And so they were propagating lies. They had this moral abandonment of Israel, which was an extremely righteous war. You know what they did, what these savages did on October the 7th. They trampled on like a divine line drawn in the sand. And the government policy is outrageous, just outrageous. Ambiguity, free Palestine, allowing for marches, and then ultimately a barbaric declaration of a state of Palestine. And I blame the media.
Hartov, thank you so much. I'm so sorry we have to go out for a break, but
I'm disgusted. I didn't know the story of Tal, and if somehow Tal was sent this video or is watching this right now, my heart really does go out to you. That's fucking horrible. I have a friend, Jonathan Carton. I don't know, maybe some of you guys are familiar with him online. He's a really fantastic guy who just hosts a lot of Jewish events in his home, and he's just a really, really great guy. He's not like a social media influencer or anything like this. He's just a good guy who a lot of people know. And his uncle was murdered by a Palestinian terrorist who was up for release. I don't know what happened in the end, if his uncle's killer ended up getting released or not, but we were sort of all in the social media space trying to advocate against it. I did not know about Tal's story, and you have to assume when you're making deals with Hamas, you're releasing people who did such horrible things like that. I would love for the Candace Owens of the world, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, to acknowledge the fact that a Christian American woman who was coming to visit the Holy Land, the land of Jesus, to come learn about her Messiah, about her God, was hacked to death by the innocent Palestinians, and her killer is now being released because of them. The blood of Christina, the friend of Tal, that Christian's blood, that holy Christian's blood from America, who is visiting here, the one that you guys pretend to fight so hard for, her blood is now on your hands, to the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens of the world, to the Nick Fuentes, the ones who keep pretending that Israel is the enemy of Christians. That Palestinian who murdered that Christina, that Christian American, her blood is now been transferred from that Palestinian man to your hands because you made that happen. You made that happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's on you now. You live with that. And when he goes out again and he kills either a Jew or a Christian Palestinian, because Christian Palestinians are just as oppressed as the Jews in this land by fucking Palestinians, when he goes out and murders again, that blood's all over you. all over. That's your blood now. And you have to do something about it. And if you don't, you're a fucking hypocrite, and I'll call you out for it. I'll make sure to call you out for it. I mean, I think Tal's story needs to be reiterated more. Specifically, Christina getting murdered like that as an American Christian. It's the most, it's literally the most hypocritical thing in the world. Let's see here. We got more Palestinians celebrating their winning of the genocide. What? What? iPhones. Ice cream.
حاجه صار النظام الشريحات كله بساطه ما حدش كان يقدر يدخل. الامن انتشر بالبلد.
What?
كأن في
Supermarkets?
مصدوم على الجوع. يا جماعه كنت خططت له ولا طالب. لا.
What?
بلش انا ببلشها. هذا الجنوب كلنا عايشين واحنا مش عارفين. انا بالجنوب قلبك.
I really can't believe it. It's almost like we were lied to. Is it possible that we were lied to, that we were duped into thinking there was a genocide going on? Is it possible that we were lied to, that we were told they were living in a concentration camp, but they have a mall and a supermarket and they're eating ice cream and they've maintained a small population of lions and baboons? Is it possible that we were maybe not told the full truth? No, not the Gazans. Not the Palestinian people. No way.
Jonathan Conricus is a former IDF spokesperson and now a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and he joins me now. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for being here. We understand that you're standing in front of kibbutz Nir Oz, which is the site of such devastation and destruction at the hands of Hamas on October 7th. And because Hamas has not released all of the bodies yet, yesterday Israel reduced the amount of aid flowing into Gaza and decided not to reopen the Rafah border crossing. So with that in mind, do you believe that this ceasefire will hold?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me on. Just following on the previous item, as an Israeli civilian, I would strongly endorse that effort by Speaker Johnson on behalf of millions of Israelis, ordinary people. They definitely believe that President Trump should be rewarded that prize and many others, because what we enjoyed 2 days ago was getting our brothers and sisters back. That was a tremendous achievement, and we're now in a ceasefire. That would not have happened without President Trump and his team. We understand that, we recognize it, and I hope that the truth and justice will be served and President Trump will be awarded that. Now to the situation on the ground. I think we are at the first test of how strong the metal is in terms of Israel and the U.S., and Hamas is testing the waters here. They're trying to not to release all the bodies of the hostages. Israel so far has responded very softly, and Israel threatened not to open Rafah, but actually the latest news are that Israel is going to open the Rafah gate. I think that's under American guidance and pressure. Because I don't think that Israel wants to really disrupt the ceasefire quite yet. What Hamas is doing is playing for time. And I think that President Trump's tweet saying that, I'm not going to tolerate any games is exactly the type of leadership that is needed, because if Hamas, if they're given an inch, they will take the whole yard, and they will drag out this stage, and they will try to make an inevitable situation where they are de facto rulers on the ground. And that cannot be allowed to happen. If we want peace and if we want something positive here for the future, then Hamas needs to be disarmed, and control over the Gaza Strip needs to be taken out of the hands of Hamas. By the way, for the better interest of Palestinians as well.
And on that front, the Times of Israel is reporting that since the ceasefire took effect, Hamas gunmen have actually tightened their grip over Gaza and have killed at least 33 Palestinians who are accused of collaborating with Israel. And some of these videos that have been released, these are public executions that we're talking about. This doesn't appear to be the behavior of a group of people who are planning to relinquish power and authority over the Strip.
Yeah.
You are 100% correct. And what Hamas is doing is settling scores. It isn't against people that have cooperated with Israel. It's against various critics in Gaza. It's against people who are trying to rise up against Hamas's oppression. These are Palestinian Muslims. Yes, nothing Jewish here, and no Mossad agent are being executed, just ordinary Palestinians from rival factions and rival clans, and Hamas is doing what they do best. They are thugs, and they're executing people in town squares in broad daylight, in typical Hamas fashion. Now, I don't know if you've seen it on other news networks. I have not seen this reported in any significant way across most of mainstream media. And I wonder why. Isn't it news when 35 and more Palestinians are executed in cold blood? Or is it not news because it's not Israel's doing? But the fact is that Hamas is not looking like an organization that is ready to disarm, as they have committed to President Trump, and they're not looking as if they're going to hand over peacefully the control over the Gaza Strip. That spells trouble for the continuation of this deal. I hope that Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, the main three sponsors of Hamas, will be told by whoever needs to tell them that the time for games and the time for this type of behavior is long gone. Hamas has lost, and they must concede. I hope that will happen for the interest of everybody.
I fear, Jonathan, that, like we know, our politicians have failed us, and they will not be doing that in any way, shape, or form. This will continue the cycle. Hamas will remain. And this is the main issue that most people forget in this conflict. Hamas is still extremely popular by the behest of the Palestinian people. If Hamas was now like a radical ideology that most Palestinians didn't hold, it would be a lot easier to remove them of power by allowing Qatar and Turkey to put pressure on them. The problem is Hamas and the Palestinian people are almost one and the same. There's exceptions, but for the most part, the people of Gaza love Hamas. They do. That's the reality. So it makes the disconnect. It makes a foreign government enforcing that politically or societally impossible. The only way you can quell it is with military power, with overwhelming military force. And I fear that what we're going to learn from this lesson is that this was another attempt by America, by Western power, to kick the can down the road for political gain, and we'll end up getting fucked by this. Because what's going to happen is, like they've announced several times and like they've warned, we're not going back to war. I don't think there's any way or chance we're going back to war in Gaza anymore. I think that ship has been sailed. And what's going to happen, it's going to be a lot of talk from Trump, a lot of talk from Qatar, from Turkey, from Egypt, pretending in Israel, and the politicians in Israel, because they don't want to butt heads with America, they're just going to accept it. And we're going to end up back in this exact position, probably worse, because again, we've just rewarded these terrorists for 2 years with so much social media attention, with a state, with statehood. We've just shown them that what they did on October 7th was good overwhelmingly. We've rewarded them. We're cooked. It's over. This is not how you deal with the Middle East. This is not how you deal with Palestinian terrorism. Now, these clips I can't show you guys. These are way too violent, but I'll just show you guys an image, a screenshot. Don't look at the rest of it, okay? I mean, if you want to go on Twitter and see it, you can. But it's basically Hamas terrorists that are lining up Palestinians in a circle to shoot them. Hamas continues in brutal crackdown in Gaza. A short time ago, it executed Palestinians charged allegedly with collaborating with Israel. But as I saw, there was no fair trial. There was no court case. There was no conversation. There was nothing other than lining them up and shooting them in the head and killing them on the street. And this is how Hamas has been handling the bodies of the hostages, carelessly tossing them one on top of another. The bodies that they're releasing, giving them to the Red Cross, just dropping them all willy-nilly on top of each other. It's disgusting. I heard that they were holding the bodies in freezers, and some bodies slain or tossed pieces of bodies in different freezers so they wouldn't be able to be found. Very clearly, we're dealing with a very rational group of people that we can coexist side by side with. Here's the reality, and this is just the truth. If the international community keeps forcing us to live next to these people, what you're going to end up seeing, and I'm calling this now, you are going to see an actual genocide one day. If you think what you saw today was a genocide up until now, somehow the Palestinian population has increased during the ongoing genocide. They've maintained iPhone 17 Pros. ice cream, a mall, supermarkets, all that. If you think that was a genocide, boy, what is coming in the future if you continue to force us, the international community continues to force us to live next to this? Because what you've done in October 7th, and I've said this before, you have bred a generation of Israeli psychopaths who have PTSD, who saw the worst imaginable things. When my generation is going to be in politics, I'm 29. In 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when my generation is running for prime minister, president of Israel, the security generals, the war generals, you're going to have a generation that grew up in October 7th. They're not going to be the most functional when it comes to dealing with Palestinians. You have a generation now who lives there who, yes, they fought Palestinians, there were wars, but they didn't see October 7th as kids. They didn't see that as a young generation. They didn't carry that with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've said this before. Palestinians are making a grave mistake. A grave mistake. They think Allah is coming to help them from the Yehud. He's coming to liberate them. I'm sorry, Habibi. We will be the end of you and your entire society if you keep doing this. If you keep going down this path, it's going to end very, very, very badly for you. Like I said before, we are not victims. We are warriors. And we will be the end of Palestine if they want that. If that's what they're looking for, they're going to get it. It will just be a matter of time. The same rhetoric that they say about us, I'm telling you right now, we are way stronger. We are way smarter. We are way more put together. And this isn't me saying that we're better genetically or anything like that. God forbid. I would never make that statement. But I'm just saying from a perspective of organization, we are much more well put together than them. We will destroy them if we need to in the future. I'm not saying that's my desired position. It's not my desired position. I'd rather we live together. But if they keep doing this and they keep threatening that they're coming back on October 7th, Habibi, we'll be there October 8th, and we will destroy you. It will be very bad for you. But, you know, the thing is, what I truly believe is up until now, it really hasn't been that bad for them. You can't maintain a population of lions, monkeys, iPhone 17 Pros, malls, and ice cream when you're going through a genocide and when the war is really that bad. I know it's been bad for many people there, but I truly, deep down in my heart, I know it hasn't been that bad for them. I've been in war zones. I've seen what devastation looks like after natural disasters in my life. I've been in the slums all over the world. I'm sorry. It's still not that bad in Gaza. It's bad, but it's not that bad. If it was actual persecution of every single individual there, it would look significantly different. This is an anti-Hamas Gazan militia, says it's now controlling numerous parts of northern Gaza and will ensure safety of Gazans returning home. The group warned Hamas, do not approach our areas. So now we've got the Palestinian civil war brewing inside of Gaza. Fantastic. I'm starting to wonder how many innocent civilians are there in Gaza. Where are they? Fantastic. And this definitely doesn't look like an ISIS warlord. All right. At least they have a nice AI logo. That's cool. Good thing they have a nice AI logo. Well, you know what? Back to square one, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like the war, it seems like the diplomacy, the peace deal, all in good fun. We just, wasted a bunch of time. Thousands of people died, but it's all for what? Free Palestine. We did it, right, ladies and gentlemen? We accomplished the goal. Every day I come on here and I lose a little bit more faith in humanity. If you want to be an optimist, I would go look at the episode I did the day the hostages were being released with General Amir Avivi, a security correspondent from the IDF and high-up general. The episode has almost 200,000 views right now on YouTube. It's fantastic. Very optimistic, a lot more optimistic than I am about the situation. But go click on that video and watch it. It's on the channel from a few days ago. I will see you guys in the next one. Get your merchandise if you want to be promised 3,000 years ago. If you believe this land was promised to you, get the shirt in the description below at thetravelingclad.com. And I'll see you then. I love you a long time. Goodbye, Clads. Have you struggled with repping your Zionism in style? Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. Head to thetravelingclad.com and become a sweet Zionist prince or princess today. Or maybe even let the world know you're a white colonizer with matching hat. Tell the comment section you were thrown out of 109 countries by joining the 109 Club with a matching hat. They say it was promised to you 2,000 years ago? Double down and grab a shirt that was promised to you 3,000 years ago with a matching hat. Ever dreamed of Zionizing like me? Do it with a matching hat, damn it! Show off your Iraqi pride by being someone's Baghdadi, or showing them you were made in Iraq with a matching hat. It's time to laugh in the face of those who attack us. Wear their hate with pride and you become untouchable. TheTravelingClad.com. We got mugs, stickers, shirts, hoodies, and so much more. Go grab yourself something nice, Habibis and Habibtis. You deserve it. If you don't want to buy any merchandise, the best way to support me is by donating on Buy Me a Coffee, my PayPal, or becoming a member on my Patreon. Your support is very much needed and very much appreciated. Thank you.